8 years since 2017's Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, a game that did not do well critically despite the pretty fun gameplay. It failed mostly due to a poorly written story, horrific character models, shady DLC practices, and a horrible PR running up to the game's launch, with developers, or producers rather, citing that certain characters wouldn't be in the game because they're only there to serve a function, and other players would adapt to different characters for those functions. It felt like a very tone-deaf move for Capcom's developers and their production team to say, hey, the characters you love aren't going to be here because we've replaced them with someone else, in a series that's so celebrated for its crossover of characters. On June 4th, 2025, during a Sony State of Play presentation, 3 of my favourite words popped up when it came to fighting games. Arc System Works. For those who don't know, I've been playing competitive fighting games for a number of years now, covering Street Fighter, Tekken, Dragon Ball FighterZ, DNF Duel, and most recently Guilty Gear Strive. What's notable about those last 3 is that they're all developed by Arc System Works. I love their stuff. Marvel vs. Capcom has had such a storied history, starting with Capcom's development of 1996's X-Men vs. Street Fighter, and then moving on to 1997's Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter. Then they landed on 1998's Marvel vs. Capcom Clash of Superheroes on arcade systems, PlayStation, and Dreamcast. The 2000's Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is one of the most celebrated fighting games of all times, and people still show up regularly for tournaments for both it and 2011's Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Ultimate in major tournaments such as EVO. What's great about the genre of Marvel fighter is the amount of love that developers show for games that they're trying to incorporate this into. Anything from Dragon Ball fighters to them's fighting herds, it's typically a tag team fighter where each player controls a team of 2 or 3 characters, with a number of assists to help cover character weaknesses and amplify character strengths, and these games become an interesting balance of team composition, assist coverage, and more importantly for viewers, combos. Take Marvel vs. Capcom 3's roster for example. Seeing the 1980s version of X-Men Sentinel, Devil May Cry's Dante, and Marvel's Shuma Gorath unleash a ridiculously cool combo on Street Fighter's Ryu, Akami's Amaterasu, and Spider-Man is undeniably cool. As noted before, 2017 saw the failed launch of Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. The gameplay was fun, but it just didn't do well, and we've had no word of a follow-up for 8 years. Content creator Maximilian Dude and their team are working on a mod called Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite Beyond, but this is about the most support we've received for the game in years, and it's not official. And then we get around to 2025 announcement for a new game. Marvel Tokon, Fighting Souls. Okay, the name's pretty dumb, but the gameplay looks sick, and I know this next section of this bonus episode is just going to be me gushing about the trailer and why I'm so excited for the game. I'm going to be putting a link in the description for this episode of the podcast, and I'm going to be giving a play-by-play on what's happening on the trailer. Feel free to watch along, pause if needed, if you're at all interested in this, because I want to see as many people excited, just as excited for this as I am. So, for a start, the trailer starts with some pretty heavy metal soundtrack, which is a very Arc System Works move. They also start by teasing some sketches that lean into the comic book aspect of the game, followed up by a clash between Captain America in a new outfit and what appears to be Iron Man in a Gundam-inspired suit. The first successful attack shown in the trailer is a pretty basic combo, but it actually tells us quite a lot about how the game is going to be played. It looks like, if we're referring to Dragon Ball FighterZ terms or Marvel vs. Capcom terms, light, medium, heavy, and then a beam, which is pretty standard affair for those games. Sneakily though, we actually see Captain America do what's referred to as an air tech, indicated by his colours going pale and then back to a regular saturation, which would allow him to perform actions in the air before landing on the ground. This is great for not only allowing players to have more control of the character, but it also allows for more defensive landings, which allows for a lot more back and forth in the game. Captain America then performed a launcher Dragon Ball style, and I do mean Dragon Ball style. It looks like Goku's down heavy on Iron Man, showing off the high ceilings of the stages and a big focus on air combos. Already showing the audience that this is a Marvel vs. game, just without the Capcom bit. After Iron Man hits the ground though, we see Captain relaunch him with an off-the-ground move, or OTG if we're using fighting game terminology, to allow him to combo into our first assist, Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel then shows off a dedicated defense mechanic as Iron Man launches some missiles at her and she exhibits a spot dodge. Now this is where your character can temporarily move into the Z-axis of the screen, allowing attacks to pass through. If this works like it does in King of Fighters or Smash Brothers, it's great because it's a call out, because if you miss and the enemy doesn't do anything, you leave yourself super vulnerable. However, if the spot dodge is successful, then the enemy is super vulnerable, having missed an attack. Miss Marvel then appears to hit Iron Man with what appears to be a low medium into a lariat attack. And I think it's a low medium because it's too slow to be a light attack, too fast for a heavy attack. It doesn't knock Iron Man down, which would indicate a low heavy or a sweep. And it also appears to be a combo starter. Another new defensive mechanic is then shown. Iron Man is blocking a string of attacks from Miss Marvel and is able to call out Spider-Man to assist him, noted with the word crossover. Spider-Man is able to get Miss Marvel off of Iron Man, and the player actually takes control of Spider-Man, indicated with an orange orb that goes from Iron Man to Spider-Man. If you notice, this actually happened earlier when Captain America transitioned to Miss Marvel too. It looks very much like an alpha counter, which is where a player can actually attack while they're blocking. Now, off the back of this crossover, or change, or alpha counter, or whatever you want to call it, Iron Man fires out another beam, allowing Spider to pick up another combo. But what's neat here is that in assist-based fighters, or Marvel fighters, or versus fighters, assists are typically done when a character enters the screen. You have to actively call them. This is Iron Man leaving the screen. There's going to be a lot of implications for that, I think, but we'll just have to see in later trailers and eventual more gameplay. Spider-Man in the next clip activates Spidey Sense, which seems to take the form of a parry. This allows him to intercept Miss Marvel's attack, sway back, launch Miss Marvel, call Iron Man out for assist, before extending the combo into a screen transition. Now, screen transitions have me incredibly excited. A common complaint for fighting game players being comboed, especially in Marvel, is that it often just results in them being killed off of one high damaging combo that goes on forever. Arc System Works actually addressed this in Guilty Gear Strive by having screen transitions. If your combo in the corner goes on for too long, the wall that they're being comboed against will break, shifting the players to a new area, resetting their positions to neutral so no one has a positional advantage, and the person doing the combo normally ends up with some sort of meter bonus. If you notice the position of Spidey and Miss Marvel after this scene transition, they're in neutral. There's no positional advantage, allowing for more mind games and more interactions, but to allow for engagement. We then see another possible alpha counter from Captain America as Spidey goes in to attack Miss Marvel, leading into a tag-in, but this time it's from Star-Lord from Guardians of the Galaxy, which then directly connects into a super attack. Next, it's a little unclear if Star-Lord has some sort of flight mechanic or flight install, as his boots are lit up during his air movement, but it doesn't appear to be an air dash. Either way, it causes Spidey to miss his web shots and allows Star-Lord to set up into another launching combo, which involves freezing Spider-Man, allowing for a re-combo. This is already really sick to see. It means there's going to be a bunch of legacy tech from previous Marvel vs. Capcom games in this. It also means there's going to be a bunch of player expression. In a possible third alpha counter, Spidey then calls on the help of Ghost Rider. Now, this is particularly important to me, and I think a lot of Marvel fans, as I loved Ghost Rider in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, but they did him dirty in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. If you want to see an example, just look up Ghost Rider's supers. They are not good. We then see another stage transition as Ghost Rider launches Star-Lord through some construction. Star-Lord then attempts to jump in on Ghost Rider for an air approach, but Ghost Rider seems to hit a DP. DP stands for Dragon Punch, and it comes from Street Fighter 2. You may know it as a Shoryuken, but that's a Ken, Ryu, and Akuma specific term. DP is a bit of a catch-all for moves of this type. Invincible on startup, but if they miss, they leave you very exposed. After a cool little combo resulting in what I'm guessing is a hard knockdown from Ghost Rider, we see Star-Lord call on Captain America and someone else, Dr. Victor Von Doom. Dr. Doom is one of the most loved characters in Marvel vs. games from Marvel vs. Capcom 2 onwards, so seeing him here gives me a lot of hope. We see him do a neat little assist followed by a wild-looking command grab, and then without cutting, we see Doom intercept another attack by either rolling, parrying, or dodging. It's a little early to call, but then it goes straight into a super. Now we start seeing some real Marvel stuff around this mark in the trailer. Ghost Rider is blocking crouched, expecting a low attack from Doom, but Doom instead calls in an attack known as hidden missiles from Marvel vs. Capcom 3, wherein he summons a target on the ground and missiles come in from above. In this case, the missiles are now a beam, but if you notice, Doom has air dashed, complete with a teleport which may be unique to him and would be very fitting, over Ghost Rider, meaning that Ghost Rider is now potentially blocking the wrong way. In fighting games, the most conventional way to block is by simply holding away from your opponent. By Doom moving from Ghost Rider's right to his left, Ghost Rider now has to change direction that he is blocking. The trouble is that Doom called in Star-Lord in the trailer to cover this. Further to this, jumping attacks in fighting games are usually overheads, meaning that they beat crouch blocking, because crouch blocking is specifically there to counter lows. So Ghost Rider has one of a number of scenarios that we know of because we don't know everything about the game yet. He can either look for the high-low mix if Doom stays on the left, while keeping Star-Lord's assist in mind because Star-Lord is on the right of Ghost Rider. If Doom stays on Ghost Rider's right, that's another high-low mix, but whether or not he'll go left or right is in and of itself a mix. So we have a 50-50 happening on the left or right approach. We also have a 50-50 happening on the high-low depending on which side Doom lands on, which may result in needing to change the block direction. All while Star-Lord is applying pressure with his assist, and while Doom is applying pressure thanks to hidden missile. This is all assuming that Doom just doesn't attack and just runs up and grabs Ghost Rider, which they could do. This is a 1 to 2 second clip, and this is a ton of interaction. Ghost Rider, in this case, doesn't hold the mix and instead gets command grabbed by Doom as Star-Lord has opened him up, and he gets comboed into hidden missiles, launching him into the air, resulting in an aerial command grab. Really cool. Doom then reapplies the hidden missile target to reset pressure. All this interaction is really sick to see because it allows for a bunch of mind games, player expression, active defense, active offense, and just cool assist usage. We then see our final character for the trailer. As Doom approaches Ghost Rider from the air after setting down hidden missile, Storm comes out and performs an anti-air on Doom, immediately connecting into a super. Then, after a short combo from Storm, we get the reveal that this isn't a 2v2 fighting game like in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite or in Marvel vs. Capcom 1. This isn't a 3v3 fighting game like in Marvel vs. Capcom 2 or Marvel vs. Capcom 3 or Dragon Ball FighterZ or Them's Fighting Herds. This is a 4v4. Now, in this part of the trailer, there isn't a whole lot to take away on a big picture level. We can break down what each character's assists are going to look like from the sizzle reel that we're given, but one thing's for sure, a lot's happening here, and I'm not gonna rant and rave any further about this for now. Before we see clips of the cinematic supers, we see something particularly interesting. It looks like this trailer doesn't show necessarily hyper combos or delayed hyper combos, which is, again, further tech from Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and 3. But what it does seem to show is some sort of team-up super across all 4 players on one team, which I'm guessing is dependent on the team composition itself. This is really cool and gives me a lot of hope for character-specific interactions. We also see something in the Cinematic Supers sizzle reel that may be of note. Iron Man shows off the Hulkbuster armor as a super. Now, this could be hinting at an install super, meaning that he's effectively changed form for the duration of that super. Allowing him to do attacks and combos and whatever as the Hulkbuster. Interestingly, the term install super originates from Guilty Gear, which was obviously, as we've mentioned, one of Arc System Works' titles. Personally, I don't think that it's an install. I think it's just a cool looking cinematic, but I'm happy to be proven otherwise because installs are sick. That's basically it from the trailer. I think the reason I'm so excited is because it looks so mechanically rich and well presented and just overall fun. This is absolutely going to be one to watch. I absolutely will. It will be released in 2026 sometime. It's coming to PC and PS5, and you can bet your bottom dollar that it's going to be shown off at fighting game events like EVO, because this is a Sony-funded fighting game, and Sony own EVO. This has been Tim, at Wembembo on everything, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for indulging in my ramble. We also see something in the cinematic sizzle. We also see something in the cinematic super scissor reel. We also see something in the cinematic super scissor. That's a tongue twister.